Here's my 14-foot utility trailer that I got for the company, and pretty decent trailer. It's been real good service to me, but you can see that the boards are pretty well done. Patched them a couple of times, and now I've got places like this where there's, a good 18 inches of the board missing, and so it's probably about time to replace everything. And so we're going to go through this today and get the boards cut out and hopefully get the new ones slid in. Well, there's my boards that are for the trailer, and I actually bought these back in September. I planned on doing this right after the weather cooled down, and then I wound up falling and having an accident, and kind of hard to replace the boards on your trailer when you got a broken back and broken ankle and heel. So now that I'm back and up and moving around again, decided it's about time to do it before the busy season hits. What I'm going to do to get these boards back in is to actually just cut a section of the rear channel out, because the whole piece of 2-inch or 1.5-inch angle iron is welded in. That's what holds the boards in, and rather than take the time to cut all the welds, I'm just going to cut a section of it out, and then we'll eventually weld that back in, and maybe even put a little piece of plate steel over top of it to shore it up. What I did before I cut anything out, though, is you can see I made some marks, and I'm going to cut that piece out just a little bit wider than what the boards actually will be. That'll make it a lot easier to get them in and then get them slid across to where they need to go. I'm going to use circular saw to cut the back of the trailer off first. Just cut the back 12 inches or so off, and then that'll make it easy to get the rest of the board out, and then I'll cut the boards up into pieces to get rid of them. When you do it, though, just make sure you look underneath to make sure there's no steel or any wires or anything like that. And I'm going to wind up skipping the last board, and I'll use the Sawzall to cut that one, just because I'm going to run out of room for the saw blade, and I don't really want to be destroying the saw blade on the steel frame. So there's the back of the boards cut out, and now I'll be able to just lift the boards up and out of the way. And here's one of the boards that I cut out, and you can see it's probably, I don't know, I might have had 3 or 4 more years left in that, but I figured might as well do it anyway. So there's all the trailer boards, and you can see the whole trailer is empty. Now I'll just take the broom and sweep out all of the channel stock, make sure everything's clean, ready for the new stuff to go in. By the way, this is a really good time to work on any wiring issues that you may have also. Nothing's in the way. Well, as is usually the case, I'm going to change the plans up a little bit. Got these boards out and found out that this piece of metal right here is just a piece of flat stock that's been tacked in a couple of places, and that's going to be a whole lot easier to cut out compared to the stuff that was in the back, because it's a piece of angle iron that has another piece of angle iron welded to it. So I'm just going to take this piece out and drop the boards in there, and that way also I won't have to worry so much until I can get this welded back together about the boards falling out, because there's very little bounce on the front of the trailer. There's a whole lot of bounce on the back. Measure the distance inside your steel plates that hold the boards down, and then subtract about 1/2 inch from that measurement. That'll give you plenty of room for expansion so that your boards don't bow. It'll also make it a little bit easier to slide them in. Take a look at both ends of your board. Make sure that one end isn't cracked more than the other. As the boards dry out, they tend to have little splits like this one does here. And whichever side looks worse, that's the side that I would cut off. Like I say, make sure that you cut about 1/2 inch shorter than what distance your measurement actually is, and gives you plenty of room for expansion. And then once you have your board cut with your circular saw, take a look at both sides of the board and determine which one is a better looking face. That's the side that you're going to want to have up. You don't really need to be worrying too much about your crown, because the board has steel holding it down on both ends, and you won't have much problem with the board's cupping. Here's an unexpected benefit of cutting the front piece of steel instead of the back. Because it's just a flat piece of steel, just flat stock instead of the angle iron, I was able to cut just the one side, just bend it up, and I didn't have to make a huge bend in it. So when I push it back down, and re-tack it, you'll never even know that it's been bent. Once you get to the last board, you'll probably find out that your hole is just a little bit too narrow for a full board to fit. So just take your chalk and your saw, make a mark, rip the board down to the right width, and you're going to want to leave yourself a little bit of extra room so that you have room for expansion. Otherwise, you're going to have buckling issues later on. Well, there you have it. There's the finished trailer. Still have to have the piece of steel re-welded, but for right now I just have a screw holding it down, which is fine. Wasn't too bad a job. Without any assistance, took me about 2.5 hours, and pretty straightforward deal. So I guess the whole project for my trailer, which is 14 feet long and it has 8 boards on it, was maybe about $165. So hopefully this will help you out with your project. I know that there's plenty of trailers out there that need the floors replaced. It's really not as big a job as it seems. Just takes a little bit of patience and some intuition on getting the boards in there. So until next time, hope everything's going well in your world. This is Ken with What Is Ken Doing, and we'll see you later.